Hello, everybody. I thought I'd take over Alan because he seems to be stressing back here and he's getting a bit long in the tooth. So he wants to punch me. Look at him. He's got that. I want to punch you in the face. Look. This we've got to get going. One, because it's hot and a lot of people have come out as usual to spend their time to set this up and get this rolling. So what we've tried to do today is we tried to offer unity to the remedy groups, and I'm pretty sure when I say remedy groups, you know what I mean, with the division of walking around in circles looking for this, a different result from doing the same thing. Obviously, everybody here is trying to find a remedy for the situation that we find ourselves in. So today, I'm gonna pretend to MC. Not much for the public speaking. And so I will just jump in and out. And obviously, because of the different groups here, there is different nuances and there's different methodology involved. So we'll try and keep it as neutral as possible before. But before we kick off, Belle has offered to come forth and do particularly for me, for Queensland, welcome me to West Australian country. So thank you, Belle. You need the microphone.
Well, I can't welcome you because I'm not an elder, but what I can do is Nyala Kadich Wajak Morik Kayan Kadak Nija Buja Naya Ya Kadich Nanunuk Nanquel Bell from the Ganang Bibbulman language group of the Noongar Nation. So what I can do is do an acknowledgement of country and a small spirit dance just to open country up for conversations of what's happening today, knowing that country's with us. Thank you.
I'm just going to go right back to the start. Hi, I'm Greg from Sparwa. I'd like to welcome everyone here today. It's a hot day, but we're here for the meeting of the mind so that all the groups can share what they want to share. So we've got a few different groups here. I thought we would have more police presence, but I can't see, unless they're in very, very, very good camouflage, I can't see any here yet. There are some dodgy looking people here, that's for sure, but anyway. I was supposed to introduce Jody Lowe, but obviously he introduced himself and you've all been talking to him already anyway. But this event was organised by Sparwa, and of course, what is Sparwa? Aren't you one of our members? Sovereign People's Assembly of WA, and we've been going since 2021. I'm looking for a backup, but yeah, 21. So we've been here for a fair while. And the best thing about us is, and about all groups, is community. We belong to a very good community of like-minded people that look after each other. And it's very, very enlightening. We're getting right back to basics, and I think that's great. So, but without any more, I'm not going to digress because I have a habit of digressing. So I'm going to hand over to Jody Lowe again. And Jody Lowe is the central to this event today. He's going to be the MC, if that's such a thing. But if you haven't seen him, he's done more live streams than anyone I know of. He's actually, I don't even know what his real life is like. I don't even know if he's sure what his real life is like because he's so much live streaming. I think he sees his family on live stream. Well, while he's over here anyway. Jody, welcome, mate. Pleased to have you here. Thank you, sir.
Bloody microphones. That's why I just have a camera. Pardon. Mine? Oh, mine's on, but it's got nearly a flat battery already, so that's okay. Oh, isn't it? Oh, it must have turned itself off. I'm not that worried about it. I'm sure, as he said, that there's plenty of lives out there. A lot of people question how I find the time for all my lives at the same time as watching all my lives. So I question, how do you find the time to watch all my lives if your life is so fulfilled more than mine for making them? I get up pretty early in the morning. Most mornings I'm sort of up and going about 4 o'clock, 4:30. I do spend about the first hour responding to messages, hundreds of days of people in distress, unfortunately finding themselves in the battle arena that we have been warning for years that we need to learn how to not get in there. And if you do have the community and connections that we've got here today. So I don't really want to give too many of my long-winded speeches. As usual, you can see endless amounts of that stuff that I do online. I will say thank you. It is important to me. For the Indigenous, I have worked out that we have been lied to for a lot of things in this country, and as I move my way forward, I'll do that very, very carefully, stepping into the new ground. That is what we will be forming in this country when we regain the power of it. So thank you for that. The sole goal for me to come over here to Western Australia was I've been talking to, obviously working with the common law sheriffs, exclusively talking to some of the team in my interviews. I do a lot of work in the background to try and conduit any information I can to the TASA team, so I appreciate both of them making an offer to come today. But what was most important to me was the Jerry and Emma case that I covered yesterday. We've been working in the background. It's been very difficult with all of the gag orders and the things that go on to make sure that we can get the right information out there without causing more problem for the common law sheriffs and Jerry and Emma themselves. When they gave me the opportunity to come over and make sure that we could get it on the public, out to the public, at least through the social media stream, to have that on record, there was no way I was going to waste that opportunity doing it just with another live from the other side of the country. So I caught the first flight that was under $2,000, and we came over with the intent just to spend some time getting that story out there, because if you can't look at your mum, your son, your brother, your sister, your friend, your co-worker as an Aussie, if you can't read and watch that story and think that there is something dramatically wrong with this country, then you are not the Australian that we would have known you to be 20 or 30 years ago. And the numbers and reflections of the groups that we get at these sorts of rallies prove just how far we've fallen as a nation for caring about what it is that we've got to do to stand up and be responsible for fixing it. So we've got a list of speakers here today to come up, and no sort of no order, because they've just basically put their name down and haven't followed Alan's instructions to come behind the stage. So no pressure. But is Jerry? Are you the Jerry that's on here? You are the Jerry. Do you want to come up first, Jerry? Because obviously a lot of the information that comes after this is, if you want to just come up and give us a quick chat, Jerry, just so everyone knows who I'm referencing. I mean, obviously the common law guys do, but for anybody else that's new, who Jerry is. And if you haven't seen that, we did a 3-hour video of that yesterday, sort of breaking down bit by bit just how colluded and corrupted the systems are over here. And for the first time in my online speaking career, I can feel the pressure in this state of what happens when you speak up against the system. So welcome, Jerry. Come on up.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Just going to say allegedly. Allegedly. Yeah, obviously, with what's gone on, it's taken a long time for us to even have the strength after what we've gone through to even come out and speak. I never ever thought we'd be and have to go through what we've ever gone through. I've explained it really well on, as best as I could, on a podcast with Jody. I had to find someone that wasn't paid to tell you what you want to hear. I had to find someone that would connect, had heart still, which I believe this country, I really thought, when everything was going down in 2020, that this country had so much heart, so much backbone, we'd stand when we needed to stand, especially because I was a coward. I never wanted to be in the limelight. I couldn't public speak. I couldn't do any of these things. And I found courage in the weirdest place, which was in the Supreme Court. of all places, where my family was under threat and in danger. I'm heavily gagged at this moment, and being that my initial report could be flipped and turned into defamation means that our country is in trouble with free speech. I did and understood what to be right, as we're all taught, and I think everyone has inherently knows right from wrong. None of us are ever born racist. All these things get programmed in over time, and you have to have the ability to question your reality. And I just started to question my reality once I was put under fire, and start to look at what this was. Emma and myself run a wellness centre. We were taking care of people. We were helping people to find themselves again. Many people in this spectrum of what we do claim to be healers, but the true healing comes from within, and we just facilitated. That's all we ever did, and we created a safe place for people to heal themselves, and that's what we ever wanted. And we had roadworks go through our business. Channel 7 came out and interviewed. They got it on. They got it all there. They can go and look at it and refer back to it. And I've got media here now, and they can refer back to it if they want to. We were genuine business owners, award-winning day spa, tourism award, innovations award, multi-award winning, and in a low socioeconomic area. So when the roadworks came through, we started to stand up, and we fought for that low socioeconomic area, because this is all at the time of COVID in 2020. And due to the heavy damages that were done to the business, forensic accounting at $839,000, after a federal member said that the only way that they'll take me seriously is if I go and get a forensic accountant. So I did that, and still lowballed. And so then the only option I had was to take him to the Supreme Court. That was the advice I got. So we did that, and 10 months in the Supreme Court, it didn't go anywhere, except my bank account just got drained even further. So then it kept getting drained, and then we started to ask questions, and yeah, long and behold, I can't go too much into it. But yeah, we made a report, and the best way to explain it is that report was then flipped us from witnesses to defendants, and then proceeded into like 33 plus court hearings in 2 years. So it's very stark difference from what we had gone through. And yeah, and then anyone that goes through this situation, I mean, in hindsight, people, they just don't know. We stopped teaching the Constitution in schools in the 70s. I didn't even know we had one. So I'm an American. I was born in West Germany at an American military hospital. I know America has one, but I never bothered to question our one, because our way of life it's pretty cool. I just surfed and, you know, drank beers and hung out with mates, and, you know, we looked after each other anyway. But as time's gone on, it's not the same. And I've got grandkids and family now, so we got to stand, and we made a stand, and we stood for our community first. That's what was important to us, was our community. We'd have people, business owners, crying and coming in and asking for help, because we weren't normal. Emma and I have never been normal. We always pushed things beyond what we ever thought possible. We were creators. That's what I believe all of us are here to do, is create. And there's so much beauty in humanity, but if we're all stuck, you know, tied down, business, stress, interest rates rising, money going up, we stop losing the ability to do what we were actually here to do, which is create. And I want people to be able to do that again. I want my granddaughters, all my granddaughters, to be able to do that. I don't want to worry about my mother and, you know, my mother and my father-in-law, like their, you know, pension, all those things. I want them to have enough. Like, this country is so abundantly rich, and they call it the Commonwealth, but where is the wealth for the common people? It doesn't seem to be here, like, in abundance, which we should have. So I don't know whether it's just mismanaged or it's just been disappeared. I'll leave you to make your own opinions on that. But the process I went through, it was me just questioning my reality. And after spending $200,000 on legal, you're not going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're going to question your reality. So we did. We questioned our reality and started asking questions, and it was the answers that weren't getting answered when I asked those questions that made me have the answers in a funny way. So I don't want anyone to believe what I'm saying. I just want people to question your reality. It's the most powerful thing you can do. And yeah, so I've gone through the 33 court hearings. I found a community after multiple legal practitioners had failed me and Emma. I found a community that would just help me to find the history and look through history and make me question my reality. And it's beautiful people in this community. Like they've got elders in this community like that have knowledge, and I'm like, where did this go wrong? Like, we used to have family, we used to all take care of each other, we used to have tribe. And I just realized, I'm like, the pattern recognition of what's going on in this world, we've kind of separated. And then used to have one family member could provide for a whole family, and now we've got, you know, two family members working. Therefore, the kids aren't getting what they used to get, and then if we're not careful, we're breeding a generation that is so disconnected. We're already disconnected. We put our elders into nursing homes, and the elders used to be the ones that would pass on the knowledge while the young and fit went out to work, so that the kids would have their connect with the grandparents. I had connections with my grandparents. And so I grew up in that era where we had that, and then technology came in, and yeah, I can't unsee it. That's the problem now. I can't unsee. So I felt the need to stand up, and that's why I did for the community first, because it's all these wars and everything going on, and there are all these distractions, but they're all distractions because our world is only directly what is right in front of us and always has been. And so we take care of what's around us, and that's how I did things in my business in Kelmscott. I took care of what's around us, and I stood up when needed to stand up, and Emma did that with me. I'm so proud of her. Like, I couldn't have done this without her. She obviously got good upbringing from her mum, throwing the peace signs up the back there. And I don't regret what I've done. It's dark what they've done. I went to prison, but going through those processes, I started to understand that it was in those dark places you realize what is important to you. And I had to purge a lot of those things. You know, we had it all and we've lost it all. But I actually found my wife again, she was always by my side, but I took advantage of those things because I just knew she was always going to be there. But it's not till it's taken from you that I realized that this is where it's at. This is the truth right here. Like, this is the truth. I know a lot of people are afraid to speak. I'm definitely not comfortable speaking, but I know that I have to speak because I have to undo the narrative that was created, because they set precedents with what they've done, especially in Emma and I's case, putting us away for 30 days. That can scare a lot of people. And then self-proclaimed sovereign citizens, we never proclaimed that at all. We did state that we are sovereign and free, which is what I understand everyone to be. We're a sovereign nation, and so I understand everyone to be sovereign and have the choice to do what they want to do. And I think that should still stand for this day. So yeah, I had to get up and speak. I had to do it in such a way that doesn't compromise. So I'm very much into truth and speaking truth. It's the most powerful thing you could do. It shake a little bit in my hands when I do it now, but that's okay. I allow everything to be. But I want everyone else to find their voice again too, and not be afraid, because it is really all that we have left. And if we can't speak, then what is the point? This is our future generations. I want my future generations to be free to be able to speak and do it respectfully and do it in love and compassion. And we don't need to lose the plot or get angry or violent. We don't even need those things. We've got the most powerful thing you could ever have, which is a voice. And I want to make sure that we still have that voice and be able to question our reality and not be afraid to ask where they get their authority from. That's the scariest question I've ever had to ask, was where do you get your authority from? And them not being able to answer it. I never thought I'd ever have to do that. I never thought I'd have to ask 11 judges, magistrates, where's your oath? And they don't have to answer it, but we pay for those services. Why can't we ask those questions? And so then I would learn as time went on, I would go, well, if you're not going to give me an oath, can you at least tell me you swore it to the people? Can't do that either. I don't understand why that's so hard to do. I know now in my head why, but everyone else has to figure that out on their own and find these groups. And it's without this community that we have right now we found, we wouldn't have the strength or the knowledge to even stand, and I wouldn't have had the ability to find my true strength and power within. And it's because of the support of this group that have got elders in it and compassion. And I love the dance that just happened before. This group actually made it so there was no black or white anymore. I could see them as my brothers and sisters again, which is the most powerful thing we could do again, because there wasn't any color anymore. We are all one, and we're all of this planet, this earth, and we're all connected. And I even recognized that in the judicial system. I said to them, I see you, judge, and I see your associates, and I see the plaintiff and the barrister over here. One day, not right now, I'll be thanking you guys, because you guys are the ones that actually were the catalyst which helped wake me up to hold space for others. And that's why I had to get out and come and speak, because as horrific as what Emma and I have gone through, it is what is necessary. I don't want to take away the darkness, because I'll be taking other people's ability to learn and grow through it, but I want to encourage people there is a way through it from the end. There is light, and we are walking examples that we can go through hell and still go through it, but then still come out the other end and do the most unexpected thing they could ever think of, which is then still hold a hand out. Because I really do believe in the saying, where we go one, we go all, is because we don't leave anyone behind because it's too hard. We're all connected, and if we can start to remember that again, we'll start operating from the one thing that we've always had, and we never needed money to have it, which was the heart. And we can put a hand out and reach out and hold those. And only those that have gone through hell and been ripped apart and put back together again because they've made themselves whole again will see the scars in the other people. And that's what gives you the strength to put your hand out and go, I am you, because I remember being that version of myself. You're seeing reflections of yourself, and you only get that through pain and suffering and coming through the other end and healing, and that gives you the eyes to see. So if anything, I'd love for people to have the eyes to see. Yeah.
He said he doesn't like speaking, but I reckon he might have a future in online speaking. We can have a battle of words. Me and Jerry go at it. Look, he's 100% right, and I've started that little platform that I'm trying to work on conduiting people to get off the social media, the doom scroll, the algorithmic drive for fear. The entire country is operating on either fight or flight at the moment, and the worst of us are fight, and they run towards the system shouting, I am a living man. Well, they really don't understand that which they speak. And it casts bad light across those that are actually meticulously going through the process to ensure that the legalese system and definitely the law system is understood when we're challenging these things, right? And that's where we see the holes in all of the stories that they're presenting against us. So I'm trying to work on a way to get away from the flight, which is probably 90% of the freedom movement are still running away from that which they know to be true, but are so frightened of the outcomes that come when you speak up, or a whistleblower that you see inadvertently, that fear, the same thing, the same driver, fight or flight is the same fear. And so we need to operate from a place where we are not afraid and we are not angry, but we are doing it for love, for ourselves, for our family and for our people. And once you have that power, and once you stop operating from the head and stop just working out of the anger of your gut and actually start engaging your heart again, you're going to find you're a different beast. And people ask, where do I get the energy, Jody? And I'm like, well, I fill my own cup, right? I have my own source energy connected, and that's why I have enough energy to give. And I will only give you what I've got to give, and I will not ask you for anything in return for it. And that's how really what sovereignty means to me, is not externally needing validation or verification from everybody else to give me their energy so I might stand here and speak to you today. What you get from me today is my energy, and it's my energy to give to you with nothing back in return except this, for a love and a share for this country that my children and grandchildren will grow up in happily and safely, because that's what it means when you say, I will do anything for my children. It's not bullshit words. Sitting at the pub today after you've done your walk around rallies up there, it is actually being here and being accountable and taking it to the system that we're talking about. So on that, I'll just ask Anita if you want to come up and give us a quick speech, if that's okay. I'm speaking longer than I'm supposed to be. They'll regret me being the MC, I promise you that.
I've never done public speaking myself. I wasn't even going to come today after the kind of week I had, the same as Jerry. So my heart goes out to you, Jerry. I send you a lot of love and a lot of healing towards you. I also just wanted to acknowledge Belle for doing such a beautiful dance. I don't really know what it all means. So you've put me on a pathway to actually look and see what it all means, because you gave me goosebumps, and I just want to acknowledge you and say thank you. It was beautiful. I'm Anita from Terra Australis State Nationals. We do it a little bit differently to any of the other groups. We reconvey ourselves back to the land and soil of Terra Australis, because as we all know, Australia is a corporation in the upper and lower case, as well as in the all uppercase. And we're trying to move away from their system by building a parallel system with the existing system. At the moment, it is really, really hard, because when you want to do any dealings with the de facto, they do not accept our little cards at the moment. So we need to actually work on them to accept our lawful identity, because the identity that you have now with your all caps name in the on the driver's license is not you. So we try and move away from that. We do a reconveyance process for Aussie-born people, and we do a conveyance for people that wasn't born in Australia but that has made this land their own. I'm from South Africa, so I had to do a conveyance, and if you were born on Australia, you do a reconveyance on our process. Our Terra Australis State National website is terraaustralistatessassembly.com. You can have a look at that. There's a bit of fee information on that, and if you're intrigued by it, you can join, and it's cost $12 per year, which is $1 a month. It's just to cover the web page costs. We have at our little stall just over there, come and see us so that we can tell you a little bit more. We've got some newspapers to sell. They're $5 each, and we've got a whole range of them for last year that we've done. And we've got some leaflets and things to hand out to you if you couldn't copy the Terra Australis State National website. So I've got it all there for you. So just come and see some of our Terra Australis State Nationals. That's all reconveyed. They're very knowledgeable. We work also from the heart space, just like all of you beautiful souls that's here. So, and I'm really, really grateful that Jody has invited me, although I said I'm cancelling. I'm here. So I'm pretty amazed at myself for picking myself up and being here for Terra Australis and for all of you, just to send out our message and just share it with you all. And you're welcome to take it on board or onto the land, or do with it what you want. So I welcome you all and thank you all for coming here today. It's really, really hot here as well. So thank you so much.
Well done. And for anybody that sort of feels energy like I do, I can usually tell you what the human resonance is based on what solar flares are going on. My wife's amazed at my ability, and I really wish I didn't feel it. But we had a chat earlier this week, Anita, that we had 6 planets line up. We had a blood moon and a full moon all in 1 week. And usually frequency sort of interference is pretty running high. that might be a bit woo-woo to you, but if you didn't feel well this week, if you were emotionally unstable and you weren't quite sure why, come talk to us after that, and we'll tell you. We'll lead into a quick chat from Neil on energy and his work. And this is what I'm talking about, this Goldilocks. I've been doing the Goldilocks theory for about the last year, which is some of the methods are a little bit too hot, some are a little bit too cold, some are just right. But as long as you're taking action that suits your family first and actually looking to do something, then you'll find yourself in a much better position than most people looking back some 6 years ago when COVID woke a lot of us up. Are starting to wake up and realise I haven't actually changed a thing in my life, because that's what victims are trained to do. Wait for the perpetrator to change while they continue to be the victim. So give us a speech on energy, is it?
Yeah, bro. Thank you. Greetings and salutations to his beloved family. All right, it is true that the planet is under fallen angelic dominion at the moment. And they're using the quantum field against us. They're using PSYOPs, and they're using the quantum field and the PSYOPs to harness our minds to create the world where they can do what they please. We've all been created and subjugated to become slaves, and they do what they do to our children, which fires me up. Really, really does. Okay, so quantum field. Hello.
I can do hand signals on the side if you.
I can just speak it anyway.
The system is.
We've got a portable if we need it.
Have we? Yep. Testing.
No power. Where does the power come from?
No power.
Anyone playing around near that cord over there at all?
Okay. I have 240 in my car if you can get it in there.
And you're talking about energy.
Sure am.
Talking about energy.
Just about to.
No? I think they're actually talking to you now.
Okay. Well, just keep talking.
Yep. Probably China, I'd say.
All right. Fire it up. Fire in the hole, people. Okay, so the quantum field.
That's right.
So the quantum field is a unified field. It runs on quantum physics that becomes quantum biology. Now, a quantum field, unified field, is a morphogenetic field, which is a oneified field, which is one God, source, first eternal consciousness field. So everything you look at and everything you see is God source. We are the particles of source creating. We are the creators, and we're here to do something about what's going on. So our protection is love. Love is the ultimate protection. And we have to lovingly come together as one, go down and see these perpetrators, arrest them, try them, and lock them up. Is this working? Okay. So God source is with us. And there is a condition known as at one-ment, and being at one with God. And I am a guardian, and I stand in the sacred law of one, and I protect all. So one-ment is a primal condition, a harmonic resonance known as oneness. We're all one, eternal family. So we need to start treating each other like family. When manifest beings use their gift of free will choice with the original divine intention, the state of one-ment with God source can be known and embodied within the manifest experience. Being both a sentient individual, manifest, and simultaneously knowing oneself as a direct embodied expression of God source is known as a state of God actualization. So we actualize ourselves through love and unity. This state creates the experience of fully engaged non-attachment, accompanied by perpetual unconditional love, peace, spiritual and material mastery, and ecstatic joy within the manifest arena. Through the condition of at one-ment with God, through selflessness and humility, genuine love can be known. The feeling of love is the result of a condition of vibrational harmonization, or the co-resonance of consciousness between the lover and the beloved. And I can say I love you all, as God source loves you, eternally, unconditionally. Expansion into at-one-ment with God creates the condition of absolute harmonization between the individual consciousness and the God mind, a co-resonance of the consciousness between God and the individuated manifestation of itself. In terms of felt experience, at-one-ment creates the feeling of absolute love, unconditional love, the quality of love the God mind experiences toward all of its manifestations of self, with whom it eternally remains a state of vibrational co-resonance of eternal consciousness within the wholeness of self. It's time to become whole, people. Personal expansion to at-one-ment or harmonic resonance with the God mind allows the individual to transcend all vibrational disharmonics, known as disease of consciousness, and to retain co-resonance with the cosmos. So if you have any disease in the body, this will heal. At-one-ment creates absolute love, and absolute love is the eternal vibrational resonance of consciousness that holds the structure of the cosmos together. Absolute love creates the experience of absolute joy and ecstatic fulfillment, and in human terms generates the attributes of all those feelings and sensations deemed as good. All conditions of disease, conflict, pain, anguish, and suffering are the direct result of vibrational dissonance of individual consciousness with the God mind. Creating the experience of at-one-ment is the progressive expansion beyond the boundaries of the personality and ego identity into the greater aspects of Gestalt identity and contained within the family tree of consciousness. A progressive realization of self as plural rather than a singular construct. We are one. If one can comprehend, the goal of at-one-ment with God is achieved through merging the higher bodies, which is the soul, oversoul, Christos avatar, Christ consciousness, and the Rishi, which is the primal light and sound fields, and the integral identity levels. The process of achieving at-one-ment becomes clear and easily achieved. So this is how we do it, beloveds. We stand together as one, and what we do, I love you, bro. What we do is we think, say, do positive. No more arguments. There are no enemies. We are one. We are one family, one co-resonance of self. Strengthen and honour all. Love and protect one another. I love you. Look at that, I got a hug from Jody Lowe.
Money by curious. Money by curious, all right? I'm away from my wife. How does this one work? Doesn't work? Doesn't work.
It's working.
All right. It's working now? Yep. Okay. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Man hug, just... Sorry, Jerry. Jerry's probably out there. Sorry, man. I've been hugging other men. I told you I was only coming over to Western Australia to hug you, and I've hugged other men. Look, there's a lot of information out there, and that's why it is incredibly hard. There's people out the back here, there's people out the front here. So many people work in different fields other than normal Western medication. And that is the answer for everything, right? It's like, we've got a pill for that. We never ever talk about what caused it. So part of the thing that I've been running, if you've been watching a little bit, you'll see the transition away from just talking about the problems. I can give you a problem that this government's involved in every single day, as I have done every single day for the last 5 years. And so what I've realised is the thing that I'm good at work is risk management. And in risk management, we have a preventative strategy for whatever the risk was that you're trying to avoid, and you have a mitigating strategy. The government seems to look after the mitigating strategy. So wellness as a holistic type of thing is something that we all don't want to have fail. But in terms of the spiritual, the energetic, the physical, the intellectual, the financial, and the emotional side of preventative strategies, that's free will. And that's our choice to do. And we take great pride in ignoring all of those things, and we usually just stick to the one or two things in that we're good at, because the system tells you you have to be the best at the thing that you do to rise to the top, to earn the most money, to have the biggest house. And busyness is something that you can waste your time with a lot more often. And so the rebalancing of what we need to do to be able to have the power and the strength to do that is something that everybody's talking about. So I'm trying to conduit all of these people with all of this different knowledge that we just heard from Neil. Some of that goes over our head, but the great main message of it is that, you know, there's a lot more to be done just with heartfelt people than all of the bullshit out there for medication. The problem with the mitigating side is we choose free will, we get ourselves to a situation, and then we get to ourselves on the other side where they are the saviour, not necessarily nefariously, not saying anything bad about our hospitals and our doctors, right? But what happens is when we get there, we are psychologists, psychiatrists, medication, the doctors, and the system that saves you is where the trauma bonding begins. And that's where a lot of their power comes, is that so many people now are reliant on the government for some form of failing that we have probably helped or were coerced into on that side. Over 50% of our country now relies on a government service. Over 60% of our country now has a chronic illness. Over 67% of the country is taking a pharmaceutical medication on a regular basis. And 20% of that 67 are children under 12 on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. Is that the nation we want to be proud of? Yeah? Is that the nation we want to be proud of? Or do we want to build a new world by being the preventative side of that strategy and never having to rely on their services after that? Dawn was going to jump up and have a quick chat. So we're great pleasure to have Dawn Kelly here today. She's obviously a long-time fighter of the system. So thank you, Dawn, for jumping up and having a quick chat. If you're not sure what she's going to talk about, maybe the weather, maybe energy, maybe the courts, whatever you want to talk about. Dawn, have yourself.
Hi everyone. Thank you for holding this event today. It's really wonderful to see so many people here supporting and coming together. And when we talk about remedy and everything that I've done in the past, I can honestly say that coming together and uniting is the remedy. No matter what your views are, what your opinion is, the way you think, as long as you come together with peace in your heart and kindness and respect for others, then we stand a chance. Now, I used to go, so I've been down many paths. So I was involved with Stephen Spires for a while. I learnt a lot, amazing amount of information. I worked with Keith Charles of the Commonwealth Custodians, David Walters. I did a petition of right. Brian Shaw, I've even worked briefly with him. And so I've have a full extensive exploration of deep dives. And now I'm in a position where I'm in agreement with the sheriffs and their way of thinking, which is coming together as a people. And ideas and beliefs change. Who I was at the beginning of COVID is not who I am now. What I believed at the beginning of COVID, as in remedy, is not what I believe now. And no doubt that will change down the track. I even ran in the federal election working with Rod Cullerton as a way of remedy, because I again, doing everything I could possibly do. And so it really is just about coming together. I've done the court thing as well. Gosh, Supreme Court. That's another thing. Challenge the courts. And I think if we were to look at what every single individual can do at a personal level, is a little bit of pushback and make it difficult for those who are imposing their political ideologies upon us. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the hate speech laws and the anti-Semitism. Now, we're talking wordplay here. Now, what most people think or believe or understand is that if you're anti-Semitic, any speech against Jews or Zionists is hate speech. So that's it's not ideal. But what people aren't aware of is that the Zionist movement is not a religious or spiritual movement. It is a political movement. So, and what they do is they twist it that if you say anything about Zionists or Jews, because they lumped everything together, then you're anti-Semitic. Well, I tell you what, that doesn't work. So educating ourselves and just be mindful of the words you speak, and yeah, just be mindful of that. But anyway, that's really all. Educate yourselves, come together, have picnics, do your thing, and just really enjoy and support each other in your own way. Anyway, thank you very much. It's very short. Okay. All right. Yeah, I said I wasn't speaking wrong. No, I've just had enough. It's hot. Thanks.
As you can see, I'm built for speed. You probably didn't see. I was so quick to get back over it. Thank you very much, Dawn. I'm hoping to spend a little bit more time with Dawn this afternoon. And look, honestly, thank you so much for every person that's come to see me today and yesterday. What day is it? It's Saturday. Today, yesterday, and Thursday. That's right. And giving me the stories. Again, like we said, we don't trust the mainstream media. Trust is something that is earned, not just given. And they have burnt it time and time again. Like I said, last year we had the ABC Four Corners program reach out. The hatchet job that they did on the lovely people of the common law backfired on them by having that fool Mahmoud Fazal present it. That guy is an Afghani immigrant that came here and decided to waste his opportunity in our country to end up in jail, then use the ABC to profit from his crimes by interviewing the very people that he still runs with. That was proven by the incident where he was passing on a message for one of the hitmen to Friendly Geordie, a Labor political podcaster, and that's only in 2024. So this is the calibre of people that the taxpayer-funded ABC sends to do hit pieces on real Aussies that are trying to fight back against the system. So we thank you, ABC, for being so foolish to stick your head up, your insignificant head up, and have a crack at us, because we turned it on you so hard that I reckon we tripled the viewership of what your shit show was just by pointing out to them that you are rubbish at what you do, and that independent media is going to knock you off your path. And as you can see, why I'll never be a politician, because I guess if you tell the truth, you probably can't. It's nearly impossible, right? And I understand that to a certain degree. There's a lot of people out there. I travel around, talk to a lot of people, and I do get hammered by a lot of people who, it's one way or their own way. They do get caught in a loop. And that's why I spend so much time saying, take a breath, calm down, we'll work this out and get yourself back in balance. Because whenever you start getting yourself into that loop, that anxiety loop, that reactive, non-rational loop, you can't actually identify and function from that passage here. So, if you are to walk past someone who looks like someone that they said on the news was a potential sovereign citizen, I don't know if you saw the lady that I interviewed last night, the 69-year-old death ninja that needed 8 police officers to come out to her farm and rip her gate down and come up to her house and take her guns away from her while trying to provoke her into being nasty or violent. 69-year-old, imagine your mum, right? Imagine your mum, your sister, getting treated like that by the policy officers with no crime except sending letters to the council, questioning where they get the authority and why they're doing such a piss-poor job of managing our money and budgetary funding and not getting a result, but yet nobody gets sacked, nobody gets inquired into. Where does the money go? The national government continues to say federally that we're only at 5% inflation, 4% we've got it under control, and yet exponentially we see rises in our council rates of 10, 15, 20 and up to 80% over in Sydney the other day, rises in our rates. How's that possible if we've got inflation under control? How is it every major product of a state or federal project at the moment is over 50%, is running at 40 to 50% over budget, and nobody seems to give a shit, except the poor people that are now got two incomes to pay the taxes at over 60 cents in every dollar going to some form of tax, some sort of rate, some sort of GST, some sort of fuel excise. So these people here that we see here are not just here for themselves, they're not here for grievances, they're here to try and find a remedy and work our way back to when the people of this country had the power, not the bullshit politics, and certainly not the mainstream media who wants to shit all over the people that they're supposed to serve, particularly the ABC that is in public. And I'd say to you, every single mainstream media channel out there has been turned off and turned away from it, just like every politician that promises you something that cannot be delivered, because we are under control of an international force here, and the bureaucracy runs all of the MPs. Right? And so until we turn our back away from them and stop listening to their rubbish and say no, if the extreme part of it that is necessary from the TASA group is like, they're like saying, we just can't even we don't want to even be close to what you are doing anymore. That's how far gone they are. And then the timeline of how far people are hopping back to a place where we were in control, probably pre-70s Lima Declaration selling off a manufacturing case. It's all these remedies are really just looking at different places where we hop along the timeline to a place where we, the people, were recognised as having the power. But that won't happen with a piece of paper. That will not happen in a court. No document has ever saved the people from the system. It has only been when the people have risen up together and overthrown that power. Bloodshed unfortunately fell, and we don't want that. Let's say COVID was enough bloodshed. COVID was enough damage. And let's say that that's done, and now we need to work out what we're going to do to move forward. But there's no point planning in Gaza where you're going to build a new school while the bombs are still flying. We have to stop the attack. We have to take back control. And then we have to come together and work out how we're going to rebuild our nation from where it should have been to where it is. Next in line, I'll stop my waffling. We're going to get a quick chat from Giannis. He's ready to go. He wants to give you 3 points about the climate change bullshit hoax, right? And he wants to give you 3 bits of information about that you can take forward to others to call bullshit on the CO2. Yeah. Thick accent, bear with it, and you're going to give us a summary, and then we'll, if need be, I'll have some information available that I'll try and work out to make sure that you can get what you say after this, John. Yep.
Thank you. Okay, many people would know me by now. On all the rallies, I was handing out green sheets of information on various subjects. We need to increase our numbers. We need to have more people who think like us and act like us. And today I am going to give you a tool to help you to make other people wake up. This carbon dioxide issue is extremely valuable for us because that is the official bullshit, which is the easiest for us to prove to be completely wrong, and through that can we prove that our government and our media are completely wrong and our enemies. Okay. The reason why I have made these 3 points, which I'm going to come to in a minute, is that I have been asking many people about this carbon dioxide thing, and they all told me, yes, I know it's bullshit. I said, okay, then it's your turn. Please convince me that it is bullshit. And they all go on and on and on, like Shakespeare, the paper, which rolls, and lose people in their speech. So I said, I must be able to put it down, condense it into points that people can memorize and regurgitate easily when they are talking to other people. Okay, point number 1. Question is, do all living things need to be nourished in order to survive? There's only one answer, yes. Those who argue should try to live without nourishment. Okay? Question 2, or point 2 is, what qualifies for nourishment? for all living things. Okay? Only organic material. I'm emphasizing it, only organic material. I see plenty of people with rocks in their heads every day, but I haven't seen one with rocks in his stomach in all my 70 years of life. Okay? So we have the 2 points now. We need to be nourished, and only organic material qualifies for nourishment, leading us to point 3. Where does organic material come from? And there is only one way where organic material is converted from non-organic, and that is called the photosynthesis. It's in the encyclopedias. People should have learned it at school. Photosynthesis is whereby the plant manufactures sugars for itself, carbohydrates for itself, out of water and carbon dioxide, right? It's unarguable. These 3 components are necessary. If one of the 3 components is not present, there is no life-giving nourishment issuing. Okay? So those who talk against carbon dioxide are the enemies of all life on the planet. Now, couple of additional information about the carbon dioxide. Okay? The sun is shining most of the day. 7/10 of the earth is covered by water, and in the atmosphere there is at the moment 420 parts per million carbon dioxide, right? So this is the critical element, because this is the one which we have the least of. Now, how much do we need? Professional greenhouse operators are running their hothouses on around 1,000–1,300 parts per million of carbon dioxide. We have, as I said, 420 in the atmosphere, which is about 1/3. And what they are doing now, the government on both state and federal level are locking away carbon dioxide. They're taking it out of the atmosphere and locking it away. So please, please memorize the 3 points which I have mentioned and talk to people, wake them up. If each one of us just wakes up 2 other people every day, and those 2 other people commit themselves to do the same again, within a month or so, more people will be enlightened than who live in Australia altogether. Okay? So please help us all do this. Thank you.
Yeah, just a little bit into that. I went up to the hills, the Great Dividing Range, where I cross it to go. We have to cross it to go back to the coast from where I live. I was up there with a bloke named Steve Nowakowski. He works for Rainforest Reserves, or he runs Rainforest Reserves, I think it's called. Sorry, Steve, if it's the wrong tag. We went up to look at the so-called green energy, one of the 1,000 wind towers that are going to be built across the Queensland state over the next couple of years. At a cost of $1.3 billion, they were standing 42 wind towers. And to do that, they were in some of the most pristine forest country, chock-a-block full of koalas and gliders and dingoes. You can't walk more than sort of 3 meters in there because it's so thick, the brush. And they had grabbed the bulldozers in there, and they were bulldozing 60 meters wide for 20 kilometers long. There is no swales, there's no runoff, there's no drainage. It is kill the koala to save the polar bear. It is absolutely disgraceful. The second biggest problem with carbon, with CO in our atmosphere is CO2, is concrete production, if you believe it or not. Every one of those wind towers has a minimum of 800 cubic meters of concrete standing under it, plus the steel that holds the Rio inside of it together. There is concrete chemicals in there to stop the retarding of it when they're transporting it, meaning that it is all leaching into the soil and flooding down off the mountain ranges, back down into the streams and the storm that run directly to the ocean below it. And I think we worked out that they were $32 million for each wind tower. Every single one of those white monsters that you see is $32 million, and nobody can still give us a cost-risk analysis of what that looks like in the future, right? And I can do some simple maths that I did on a whiteboard one day, if you've seen one of my whiteboards, where I said, We had 75% power 5 years ago coming from thermal coal. We've reduced that. Great for the green of the world, for the 1% of global emissions that Australia contributes. We dropped that down to 45%. Good job, Australia. We're so much greener. But somehow our 140 odd million tonne of thermal coal that we mined went up to about 160 million tonne of thermal coal because we're 86% foreign owned in our minerals and resources. So we haven't stopped producing it. We haven't stopped pulling it out of the ground. So we're not any greener. In fact, we're sending more over to the countries that don't give two shits about the environment, China and India, to burn it, right? And at the same time as patting ourselves on the back saying, yes, we're paying 3 times for our power what we were because we're so much greener and our animals' environment's so much safer while we're bulldozing mountain ranges that our children will never see a koala in the wild again because we're killing them. I just thought I'd add that on to the end of Johan's speech about CO2 and the bullshit that we're dealing with the climate change at the moment. Lee's going to come up and give us a speech now. I think I'm getting through them in between my long-winded emceeing. You've probably never seen an MC talk this much before, but welcome, Lee.
Thank you. Hi, folks. Thanks for coming out on yet another heat wave. Let's hope it's the last heat wave. We're in autumn. That would be nice. I want to first offer immense respect to Margaret. She's here today. She has many elders standing behind her. She's come down to meet with others like ourselves who are working. We're all trying to find remedy to what's going on. Thank you so much, Margaret. We've had a fabulous conversation today and we've linked lots of things up. I'd like to thank also Belle for your beautiful dance today as a welcoming to country. Thank you so much and respect to the land. No. Okay, but you're beautiful. No worries. But thank you so much. It's very much respected. Thank you so much. And to the other groups that are here, which is TASA and the Commonwealth Custodians and any of the other groups, and to the media, the free media and the paid media, thank you so much. So for myself, I speak in terms of structure and the history. I entered this realm in 2009 when I went through a door one night back into the architecture of this system. So the fabulous thing about this system that we find ourselves in is that it has recorded itself very, very well. It's done a lot of recordings and a lot of documents and papers, which allows us to undo those recordings if they've been done the wrong way. So we as a people are under guardianship. That's incredibly important to know. We are a captured people. To know that we are a people under guardianship is to then be able to speak about and appreciate and understand, for want of a better word, why we do not need to be consulted on anything. Why don't the people have to be consulted on anything? Nothing. Can we build a big mine here? Oh, we don't need to ask the people about that. They're under guardianship. You don't have to ask the people when they're under guardianship. Everybody knows that. If you've got a loved one in your life that's disabled, genuinely disabled, or you've got a parent that's now non-compos mentis and they're under guardianship, you're the one making decisions for them. They don't have to be consulted. Well, we as a population on planet Earth are under guardianship. Now, who the hell did that? Who did that? Who put us under guardianship? Now, who can answer that question? If you can't answer that question, then you don't know where you're standing. And you don't know who has got your rights in their back pocket. Okay? Now, the answer to that question, we go back to one particular point, which is 1302, the Unum Sanctum Master Trust. It goes on beyond millennia, but we can at least start there. That is the first master trust on planet Earth, where Pope Boniface declared that he owns the whole planet and everyone on it. And that was the beginning of your guardianship. Now, they update their documents regularly. I can then say that that document was essentially upgraded, perhaps we might say, at 1933. Oh, not that long ago, 1933. What happened then? Well, gold got removed, didn't it? Gold got removed. We were already 20 years into the installation of the US dollar, 1913. Oh, when did that happen? On the 23rd of December 1913, when everyone was on holiday for Christmas. And what happened 4 days before the installation of the US dollar through Congress when everyone was on holiday? They installed Australia and the Commonwealth of Australia onto Norfolk Island. Wow, really? Was everybody on holiday then? Nobody knew that happened. So where is Australia in the Commonwealth of Australia? It's on 3 islands, Norfolk, Cocos and Keeling Island. It's actually not even on these lands of Terra Australis, but its instruments are on these lands. It's instruments like driver's licenses, mortgages, insurance, everything that runs your day-to-day life. They're all in unilateral contracts. What's a unilateral contract? Something where you don't need to be consulted. You don't have to be asked, are you paying your electric bill? No, you're in a unilateral contract. You're paying your electric bill, even though we own all of the infrastructure. How do we own the infrastructure? Through the monetisation of the instruments, particularly the birth certificate. What year did the private bar, the British Accredited Registry, arrive on these lands? Who can answer that one? 1836. Take yourself to the Old Court Museum in the Perth Supreme Gardens if you want to see the Holocaust that came to these lands of the ships arriving on any of the lands around the world. It is a business model that came to all of the lands. It's not a people, it's not a skin colour. It's not simply the Europeans that invaded everybody. It is a business model, a Vatican-based business model. It was fueled by papal bulls that gave permission for the ships to go out and conquer any land. And if they found people on those lands that were running their life in a different way, then they were classified as savages. And that is the beginning of terra nullius. Oh, there's nobody here. They're not people, they're savages. They run their lives differently to how we want to run things, so we can just take their land. That is part of the business model. So all of the land has been taken around the world and installed with this same colonial business model that we're all subjected to. So the beauty of that and the remedy of that is that we can undo it, because we can look at the documents and we can say, how did you get permission to do that? You need permission from the people, because we've all heard we the people throughout our lives. We the people are in charge. And why is that the case? Because we have breath, because we are the evidence of the divine force creator running through us, because we have breath. A piece of paper doesn't have breath. So therefore we can say that that is inferior jurisdiction. So we talk about remedy in terms of jurisdiction. Superior, having breath, and inferior being a state, for example, just the state. A state is a collection that then comes onto the land under the colonial business model and starts to run the rulership. So as having breath, we can get ourselves back in the right position through equity, through process, and by holding people accountable. One of the main ways that the state stays in charge is that it fails to turn up. No matter how many meetings we call forth, those sitting in the offices of the state, they don't come forward. So how do we create remedy when the people that are perpetrating the agony against us, they don't come forward? So we have processes for that in place. I want to talk about, government payments. You're under the 1666 Sesta v Trust. Who knows what that is? If you don't know what that is, you don't know where your rights are sitting. You want to look at the 1666 Sesta v Trust. That is where your right to resources was put into the hands of the state. And when you showed up to say, I'm alive, I'll have access to my resources now, you're under guardianship. So how do you do that? With quite a lot of difficulty. And the reason for the difficulty is that you meet the front end staff who have no idea what you're talking about. But if you're in any way eligible for a government payment, go and get it. It's your inherent right to resources. It is your Sesta v Trust. The government is our administration system. It's our public servant. It's not a ruler, but it does present itself as a ruler because you are allegedly under guardianship, deemed to be incompetent. Who can resonate with what I'm saying? Who recognises what I'm saying in terms of what you run into in everyday life? You can't be seen, you can't be heard, you're ignored. The people are saying something, they just overrule us, they send in forces, knock you down, block you out. That is because the state is running things. Now, you probably all know that we've had the US dollar on these lands or all around the planet for about 112 years now, since 1913. That has been getting taken out recently. That's what that whole Trump movement is about, whether you like Trump or not. It has been about the taking down of the US dollar. In 1933, when it took out the gold and inserted itself. It also did a document called the Montevideo Convention. It's only 8 pages, so I suggest you go and read it. Montevideo Convention. It's violent because it gives the state all these unbelievable powers over us. The people aren't even mentioned in it, except that a state needs to acquire a population. Just acquire it, not through any due process. It just finds itself a population and moves onto the land. And a state cannot be removed, and it's not answerable and accountable to anything. Even in the United Nations, which is the consolidation of the states, it can't be held accountable for anything. So when we find these documents and we find these processes and we find these dates, that is a joyful thing, because then we can go, right, we've nailed you there, and we can undo that. So we need to be rewriting the Montevideo Convention and putting in the people. And we need to be rewriting the crimes against humanity done by the United Nations in 1948. Who thinks life is very different since 1948? Do you think that document needs an upgrade? I do. I do, yeah. So anyway, that's what I bring to the table in the things that I do and with the people that I work with and colleagues. We go through structure, architecture, very old acts that are centuries old as to how they put something into place that you just cannot even find these days. You just can't find it. It's buried so deep. So we all have sister KV trusts and we're all under guardianship. So we have masses of potential to move forward, which is super exciting. We're coming out of the age of Pisces. We're out of it, actually, the age of guardianship, where you've got to think about this in terms of the Pope. What is the Pope? The Pope is the Vicar of Christ. What is the Vicar of Christ? The Vicar of Christ is the entity that sits in between here, me, the divine coming through this divine body temple, and the greater divine itself. But the Vicar of Christ slots in there. That's why churches came onto the lands. Oh, come into the church to speak with God. You don't need to go to church. You can speak to God doing your dishes, waking up in the morning. Good morning, God. It's so simple. It's so simple. We all know this. It's with nature. God is nature. We are nature. So whilst we continue to have this entity called a Pope, we now have Pope Leo, and they like to talk about, oh, the poor and the vulnerable, the poor. But if we actually were living in abundance, which is the kind of planet that we're on, an abundant planet, we wouldn't have the poor and the vulnerable. We would all be abundant, which is where we came from at one time. So these are the unspent potentials for us to put back into place and to get fictional constructs out of the scene and get everything back on track. So again, to Margaret, walking with lots of wisdom, lots of elders and the original people of these lands, we can get things back on track. This is a global event of the elders coming back to the table. So it's exciting times, and I hope that we can feel positive and inspired for what lay in the very immediate future for us to bring remedy to this. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Thank you. Alan still looks a bit weak in the knees back there, so we're just going to let him have 6 big breaths to come up. He's not like me, born to talk rubbish into a microphone. He's one of the many people, as per usual, that work in the background, not looking for a like, share, subscribe, buy me a coffee. Unfortunately, that seems to be part of my role, being able to sort of bounce in and out of different forms of conversation. I work with coal miners, underground coal miners. Most of them are second generation to their grandparents were the first people in the family to walk upright. So like I always say, the coal mining industry is full of people. We wear gumboots underground, not because it's wet, but because it's easier than explaining how to do our laces every day. So I definitely have to be kind to my beloved underground mining, coal mining teams over there, and it is quite often laughed at when I show up to the reckless renewable rallies in Canberra dressed in my full mining outfit and my gumboots, and people are asking, what's a coal miner doing at a reckless renewables rally? And I'm like, well, that's the point. They're trying to get rid of the bread and butter of our country before they've actually put something in place that is solid for the future. And now we're going to see the absolute piss poor job that people like Bowen have done that's laughable. They're doing such a bad job, it's almost got to be deliberate. So that when we say that it's not good enough, what we'll do is we'll flip straight back into the hands of Gina Reinhardt and the coal magnates, because we know we'll go back to possibly at best what we had before that, which is what we should have not wasted the billions, if not trillions of dollars on the transition in the first place, and then we end up with what we had, right? And then we'll be happy for what we had, because they love to take it off what we've got. and then they eventually give us back 75% of that, and we go, thank you, government, thank you, new politicians, for giving back 75% of what you took off us at 100, and that's what I don't want. I think there's much better sources of energy out there than coal. I think there's greater ways that we can do business, but I certainly don't think that if we're going to rip all the coal, I work in steel making coal, coking coal, if we're going to rip it all out of the ground and send it on 18,000 litres of diesel per day, ships to China to turn it into soft, shitty steel that bends easily, to put it back on the same ship to bring it back to the country so we can use it to build the buildings that house the foreign cars that we bring in to do the mining, the foreign trucks. It doesn't make much sense to me. So something's got to change, and I'm the eternal optimist, even though I always sound like a pessimist. And I think the change is definitely coming. And from what Leith was just saying, there's lots of things out there. There's lots of different people speaking simultaneously at the moment. And although some of them feel like they're conflicting views, some of them feel like they're different cultures, different languages, different countries, different religions. They all seem to be leading to something new, right? And it seems to be a bit of a race for it. So I welcome you, and I really am proud of anybody that is actually standing up in this time and taking part in that, because you have to be the change you want to see. And so I'll hand over to Alan now, and he's going to give us some good chats. And then once Alan's finished, I think I've got through all of the speakers that were waiting for a chat, hopefully. I did have a late offer from the Commonwealth Custodians. You good? You still want to have a chat? I'm good. Yeah. You still want to have a chat? Or okay. So we'll do one more quick one after Alan, and then we're going to turn off the cameras and mics for those guys that are the professional ones that are floating around, if that's okay. And then we've just got one more presenter at the end of that. So, has she? Okay, that's good. That will make life easier for the cameras. Bell, yep, cool. Right, Al, let's go.
Well, thanks, guys. I just want to welcome everybody on behalf of the sheriffs, and what's this back step there? And thank you all for turning up. The main thing about this gathering today was for some of the groups to understand where the sheriffs and the Assembly are. We've been sort of in the background, doing what we can, but delivering some very, very big results. So I want to acknowledge everybody. Belle, who was here for First Nations, that was lovely, lovely dance. And, we love the country we're in, but we had a good chat before about how it's all come about, and we have to move forward. And that's where the remedy is, moving forward. But we're at a point now where we've done a lot of hard work. We've copped the kicks, we've copped the testing, we've been shooting basketball hoops, and they've been missing. And we've then honed and gone back and licked our wounds and had another crack, on the back of what you heard from Emma and Jerry. And we also have the work that Rod Cullerton is doing and getting fed by us, and Rural Action Movement in the background, and that's on the theft of farms and properties. We've had a minor, well, it's a major win, but a minor win in their world, but a major win in our world, with the delegation of bailiffs have all been unlawful. But it doesn't mean to say the banks are going to adhere to that. It means that their delegation officers have been taking properties and stealing them, basically, because they haven't been delegated correctly. I think, a group of us here, I won't name some names, have been pushing that one, and it's still on the go. But effectively, that means that a lot of the properties that were stolen and taken by force by our lovely police officers, who are acting on their statutes and legislation, that don't understand the law. And they're great guys, don't get me wrong, they're in there for the right reasons, but they get twisted out of what really is law and just go on presumptions of law. And those presumptions are getting broken down. The fact that the bailiffs from private corporations have been acting outside of the sheriff's office, the corporate sheriffs from the judiciary, have now been caught out stealing land in breach of the Transfer of Land Act. And we notice Landgate's gone very silent. So the dam's about to break. But to break this dam, and to understand where we are with all the information we've collected and all the gazetting and all the documenting and all the courts and all the grand juries, we need the people. We need the people to come to those courts and stand up. We need people to understand that this great country's been stolen from us. We don't want to kick everybody out. We don't want to destroy the government. We don't want to destroy the local government even. We need those people functioning. We need our public services functioning. We need to take them back. The people shouldn't be scared that they're in those things. They're not going to lose their jobs. We're just getting repurposed. They're repurposed back to work for the people. Stop the backhanders and stop the corruption going on. I mean, a lot of local governments full of people that are actually developers that are getting in there and they get their own people in there. You know, and we know it's all going on around us. It's very hard to go out and accuse them, but it's almost we've got to go and catch them in action. But with the people on board, we don't have to catch them in action. We know there's something wrong. We know you can't afford your food. You know we're going down the tube. If you don't know, you're living in another world. You know, I must thank Jody for spreading our message across, you know, major platforms and getting huge views and understanding. I'm disappointed with the other freedom groups that, you know, propose freedom and talk the talk and take your money and ask for donations. But never forget, common law is your right. It is free. You don't pay for it. We pay for it collectively with our time. So anyway, based on that, a bit of a rant, but I'm going to put out a statement so you guys can know, and this is also going out pretty well. This is where it's a statement. I'm going to read it out because I can't get it wrong. This is a declaration of sovereign jurisdiction and non-recognition of foreign legal authority. And we call that foreign legal authority because we've got a foreign power in our parliaments. And I will add, that parliament is full of what I call parasites. Just like your belly and your stomach and all the problems you get, those parasites are causing in your health, those parasites are causing the health of this country to decline. Notice to agent is a notice to principal, and a notice to the principal is notice to the agent. Without prejudice, UCC 1308. To all alleged public officers, courts and agents, this declaration is issued by the Common Law Court of the Sovereign People's Assembly. This Assembly of Western Australia, I should say. A duly convened lawful common law court operating under the highest superior jurisdiction granted by the sovereign people of the assemblies and the general people. This court and its officers act in full lawful capacity, standing under natural law and common law, not subject to corporate statutes or policies, lacking any authority. We recognise the Supreme Court is attempting to deliver outcomes that we deem null and void. Our common law court verdicts have superior standing, and I'll refer that back to Jerry and Emma, where their case, they had a holistic win. The people voted that they were correct. Statement of authority. The authority of this court flows directly from the sovereign people. It is lawfully convened, operates with due process, and provides remedy through a hearing judgment by a jury and lawful adjudication. The court is convened by duly appointed adjudicators and court officers and public officers sworn under the correct oath, the oath to the people, the oath to the Commonwealth, not to a corporate fiction. This jurisdiction that is crowned, we the people, of superior jurisdiction. The people's lawful right to refuse unlawful governments and judiciary. Unlawful governments when a government breaks its constitutional contract with the people. The judiciary has no separation of power. Judges refuse to prove authority and refuse to recite their oaths when asked. And this forfeits all legal and lawful authority when challenged under maxim of law. Any alleged authority cannot be assumed or spoken into existence. The people retain the right to withdraw consent, revoke silent contracts, form and operate lawful common law courts, terminate the entity and claim back the infrastructure for the people, govern themselves according to natural law and the original Constitution until otherwise deemed by referendum or under the people's will. That is the main statement I wanted to get out to so people can understand that. Now, I'm going to ask you one question based on what Leith's fantastic speech and the history that's been given. Who is breaking social cohesion?
Government.
Who? Is it us? Are we not allowed to ask questions? Are you ignored? Does an affidavit stand in truth in their system? No. But in ours it does. And if unchallenged, it stands as truth. The National Common Law Sheriffs are ready to bring forth factual remedies, flipping this country back to the people, the true authorities and the creditors. We also use the word custodians, not authority, but custodians. What if I said to you that we could run, or if an independent politician, not political parties, as we know they're unlawful and they're not constitutional. I mean, some might argue that. Certainly the people defending the system will argue that. No personal tax to the living, no rates, no utility bills, no private registrations, and public services back to the people. Full pension at 55. Politicians' retirements to be the same as yours. No political parties or lawyers in Parliament. You know, all those things are in that Constitution, just been legislated around using 128 of the Constitution. They don't need to do a referendum, they just do it. But that actually has a critical word in it. It says for the good governance of the people and for the betterment of the people, but it doesn't actually do that. That's where they get around it. That's how they circumvent it. The restoration of superior jurisdiction and common law jury courts by the people. Activation of promissory notes, which they use but we're not allowed to. Private business and the removal of red tape and lower energy costs for them to thrive. No one should fear the change that we're going to bring in because everything will stay the same. You'll just be cheaper to run and more productive and more cost effective. All this is funded by the resources and the people as a resource, and the positive energy and unity and morale and the love that the people will bring to this country to make it thrive. You think we can't do this? But mathematics says we can. And the theft and scarcity created by these cartels will be no more. Provide a future for your children, your kids, your grandkids, that at the moment remain stolen. Provide a future, honour our vets and service personnel and return to honour, not ladder climbers. This flag denotes that. That's your land flag, that is your flag. That's what we originally came under, and that's what our veterans fought under originally. And they gave their lives for this country. And so did the First Nations. Return frequency healing and remove poisons and plastics to fast-track health. Remove what's holding us here in this jail on a path to the Hunger Games and oblivion. Hang on. And I'll finish on this note to you lovely people and whoever's listening. And I hope this puts a rocket up your belly. I could have said something else there, but anyway. We can do this united and ensure we never become what we the people oppose. Never become what we oppose. The time is here, so let's get this job done. If not now, when? And if not, who? You want to finish it?
I don't know. If not now, then when? And if not you, then who?
Who? I did. I've got it around the wrong way. But anyway. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thanks for that. It's a hot bloody day, but you know this is going out far and wide. So let's hope this goes down in history as the beginning of the end for these parasites. Thank you.
Thank you. Just quickly before we move on to our last speaker, Alia Switter. Harley wants to come up and show you what she has learnt from the wonderful teachings, and she's a homeschool student now. So you're going to give us a little song and representative dance of what you've learnt. Is that right, Harley? Good job, sweetheart.
Hi, I just want to say that all your hard work you have been doing, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm just going to do a little dance of Welcome to Country song, and I hope you enjoy what.
This is literally what we are fighting for. So, Alia, take it away.
One, two, British go down, one, two, Wabatakura, one, two, British go down, Namakwarika, one, two, Wabatakura, one, two, British go down, Namakwarika, one, two.
That's a hard act to follow, bud. I'm sorry to do that to you. We probably should have went last with the beautiful little girl. We've said 1,000 words today. We'll send a couple more. But if these children aren't the reason why we're doing this, and the great-grandchildren, the children, the great-grandchildren, the grandchildren, man, oh man, my guts is hurting because I miss my daughter. I've been away. I don't get away from my daughter, and little Ari's the same age as her. So I'll bring you up, mate. Jump on up. Good to see representation from the Commonwealth custodians here. Come in late, so I really appreciate that you just offered to jump up and have a speak, mate. So,
thank you for coming over. Thank you for your efforts to get here. I just want to mention a couple of things. The Commonwealth custodians have got an electoral role now in the de jure Commonwealth, the correct Commonwealth. We rely on a couple of things. One of them is the Public Governance, Performance and Accountability Act in Section 11. It says that there's two types of Commonwealth entities. One is a corporate Commonwealth entity, which is like a body corporate. And then there is a non-corporate Commonwealth entity, which is not like a body corporate. And then there's a note and it says, oh, the corporate Commonwealth entities are legally separate from the Commonwealth, whereas the non-corporate are part of the Commonwealth. So we rely on that. We've done a document on the 13th of April in Sydney last year to reclaim and restore the Commonwealth under the Constitution Act 1900 UK. We only went that far back. You know, we didn't go far back as some people have done, but we went that far back because it was done. It's done by the people of the states, and it's not up for grabs. It's not rebuttable. It was done in 1900, and it was the people of the states that did it. And we're still the people of the states. Just trying to understand what the corporate world is like. The best way I can describe it, and this has been done by Keith Charles, the leader, he said that it's like the Chinese paper dragon that they tried out at Chinese New Year, and it seems alive. It's got lots of energy. It's got people inside it. They've got sticks and they're propping it up, and they're giving it energy, whether they go left or right or up or down. They're giving it energy, and that's us. If you are supporting the Commonwealth, if you're supporting the corporations by voting in that world, you are propping it up, giving it energy. Your vote, your volt is providing energy. So if you drop that stick, that Chinese dragon just falls lifeless on the ground, and that's their corporate world. We were born, well, most of us were born here in Australia or in a Commonwealth country. You cannot be born into a corporation. You can only be born into the autonomous community, and we are Jerry spoke before about community, for all his understanding of what he's been through 33 times in court, he understands that community is the most important thing. And this is here what we're doing today. We have community here. It's just a wonderful thing. And in the community, if you're not feeling well, someone says, oh, George is not feeling well today. He normally harvests the grapes. Let's give that to someone else and he can have a few days off. And that's what happens. That's community. Whereas in a democracy, the 51% can lord it over the 49%. In a community, everyone's taken care of. So all we need, going back into the Quick and Garran, we've put into Quick and Garran what is common law, or the phrase common law. It's come up with 121 examples or instances in the common law, which means, guess what the Constitution was founded on? Common law. This man here loves to hear what I'm saying. He loves his Quick and Garran too. So that's all I really want to say. We do have one more thing, is that we've been in the Quick and Garran, we only need 50,000 votes to restore the Commonwealth. We can't just restore it by placing people in roles that have to be voted in by the people. And once they're voted in, we can now have restore our de jure Commonwealth. Do we think we have any issues doing it against the corporate? No. That's because we were born into the Commonwealth. We're only restoring what we are rightfully born into. And their world, you have to incorporate yourself, which everyone has said about the SQV trust and all this. You have to be incorporated. It's done through the driver's license and many other things. So we're just doing what comes natural, what we were born into. And if you get a chance, go onto the Commonwealth Custodians website and put your name down to go on the electoral roll. You won't be able to vote in the corporate elections after that. There's also a way to get around that as well. Thanks, guys, and thanks for all coming out.
A lot of information, and I'm sure, look, I've looked around and I've met a lot of people today. Most of you sort of follow something. If you follow me, I guess you see a lot more content than just me, obviously. I'm an abrasive sod. I'm a 22-year underground coal miner. I played front row football for 13 years. Aggression is built into me. Attack is my defence. So, you know, I am sorry. Sometimes that gets the better of me, but I am every day trying to be the better version of myself to make sure that the intent of what comes out of my mouth is at least true to what I'm looking to achieve in what I do. This morning, if anyone was watching this morning, I'm over in Western Australia and I've been throwing some rocks because there's a lot of people here that do a lot of hard work and they don't want to throw rocks and they don't want to poop in their own backyard. So I've taken that upon myself to do that on behalf of some of the frustrations that we see continuously after 6 years, and a lot of people have been doing this for 20. You know, we're running on a treadmill, and it feels like you're getting fit, but you're not going anywhere. So I want to say thank you to every single person here today, whether you're part of the groups that are already here working, whether you're new to it and you're sort of trying to work out whether that vibe is right for you, that Goldilocks methodology of what's too hot, what's too cold, what's just right. That's what I've been trying to sort of promote with everything that we've been doing. And again, you know, I've had Keith on from the Commonwealth Custodians. I'm glad I found some of the legislation to come back today to talk about the nuances that are out there and why we're sort of having these different groups with different methods. I call it the fuel tank method, where we have 400-litre fuel tanks that we're just filling up full of all the different fuels out there. And when we actually realise that knowledge is power, power is the fuel for action, and action drives the change that we need to see, quite often we'll go to put that fuel that we've gathered in our 400-litre tank and we can't get the motor to run properly because it's so mixed up with all different types of fuel, because we're so bouncing all over the place between common law, constitution, imperial law, canon law, maritime law, you know, all of the different sorts of things out there. It's bloody hard. But if we keep it simple for our people as they come, as new people come, and they're waking up. Every person here that's been doing the work, I've been saying for a while now, you are the tower of the organic network that we are bringing the space for the people to wake up in between. And we are broadcasting a new frequency that is not low vibrational fear and anger and greed and revenge. But we're casting that out so that when they come and they listen, what used to be white noise is suddenly something that they can hear. And when they start to hear it, they start to get it. And when they get it, they embody it. And that might not be with your group, Commonwealth, it might not be with the sheriff, it might not be with TASA, but it will be someone, because now's the time for people, for the shills, for the grifters, for the gatekeepers and the Judas goats. You are going to get flushed out. You're going to get called out, and we're going to see you for what you are, because you've been in power in this movement for too long. That's why I call it the ment, because it hasn't moved really for the last 5 years. So leave the abrasive rough work to me. I will always throw the rocks on someone else's behalf and cop the battles and the bruises back. That's my role. I don't mind being the antagonist. And pull me up every now and again and just say, you know, don't get too much in the ego, don't get too much into your head, because I still want to operate out of the heart, but I'm not going to give myself the opinion of only letting my ego speak, but also suppressing myself and my true feelings, because we still have to feel the full range of emotions to go through what we're going through at the moment. So thank you everybody that came out today for a very hot day. Thank you, beautiful little girl, for doing that lovely rendition, and we wanted to see a bit of a dance. Maybe we'll see the dance a little bit later, but you did a very good job. That's only the song. Well, I want me to do the dance. No. Okay. And for everybody, that was, I've got a bit of a lineup of people that I've promised that I'll have a quick chat with after this. I'm going to hang around for a little while as we try and sort of help everybody pack up, so I won't just disappear on the work. Although I do prefer to tell people what to do than do it myself. But I'll try and at least carry one thing occasionally. If someone could take a photo of me doing that, so it looks like I participated, that would be good. Anything else for anyone else, other than the fact that I thank you for having me, thank you for welcoming me, thank you for looking after me, Alan and the team. I thank you for the people that have been driving me around. It's been much appreciated. I've got a little bit more talking and walking to do this afternoon, and I'm going to go and find a motel in the city, break all that stuff down, break it into the internet, and as per usual, try and make sure that we can get this out as many places as we can. Thank you. We've been... Because of your help, like, what am I? I'm a talking head. I take your information. I'm the conduit. I take your information and I turn it into a layman's form of information. I put it out on my whiteboard, in my shorts, take the legislation, all the different things, the way that we do it. I've been averaging over 7 million views a month for the last 10 months because of the people that are out there helping me promote that and giving me that information that makes it relative and to the heart for the people that are watching it, okay? So with all of the information and the work that you people are doing in the background that don't get the accolades, don't get the fandom of like, oh my God, it's Jody. What am I? I'm a coal miner from Central Queensland. Right, that's it. I'm an average Aussie living an extraordinary life, and this is a wonderful time to be alive if you look at it as the change that's needed for the suppression of what's been going on for our souls and the energy of this planet and for the future of our children and grandchildren at least. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and anything else, just come along and say, did you need anything?
I just wanted to say a big thank you to Jody for actually coming over here, making the trip, and just hearing our story. Limited capacity that it was, but making the effort and just putting it out there and not allowing it to be suppressed. It's so much heart. I couldn't have found a better guy to do it. So
thank you.
A lot of love.
Very much. I think someone said I had 1,200 words and he wanted to get 1,232 words. So thank you for... All right, have a great day. We'll pack up for anyone that's going. See you soon, and anyone that I owed a bit of a conversation, I'll do my best to get around and have a chat with you. So, thank you.